All right, guys, what's going on? So Matt Shields actually spoke in SMMA Mentors community in the actual network in my community. And pretty much he shared a ton of value. So if you guys don't know Matt Shields, he scaled his own agency to 300K per month. Pretty crazy stuff in the real estate niche and shared a ton of value, answered all the mentees' questions. So I'm going to drop the full entire coaching call, the entire call recording right now. And let's get into it. Shared a ton of value, answered all the questions. And yeah, stay on as long as you guys want. And I'll see you guys in there. Cheers. Well, I mean, Matt, if you want to kind of introduce yourself, I think everyone probably knows who you are, to be honest, but you want to give a quick recap or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm like kind of retired from the agency world, so if you've been in the space for a little bit, you might know me. If not, if I'm a new face, my story in a nutshell, I left ninth grade. I left high school after ninth grade. When I was 17, I started my first agency. I was scrolling on YouTube one day trying to figure out what to do with my life, debating whether or not I should like join the military or try to go to like online college or something. So I'm just scouring YouTube trying to figure out what am I going to do to make money? What am I going to do to survive? And I come across this guy named Billy Wilson. And Billy Wilson's kind of like this introverted, kind of like nerdy YouTuber guy, but he was making 20K a month. He was telling his story of how he dropped out of college and how he started a social media marketing agency. This was like 6 years ago, right? So before it really became extremely popular, but it was kind of on the come up. And I'm watching Billy in this video, and I'm just blown away with his story. The fact that he's making 20K a month, I couldn't believe it. And I end up buying his course for $597. I remember going to my mom, Eric. I've told this story. I might have even told it on our podcast that we did a while back. But I remember going to my mom and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to college. I found this random guy on YouTube. I want to buy his course and I want to try to build my own online marketing agency." And my mom started crying. She started literally crying in front of me and she was like, "Please just go to college, take this course after." And I'm like, "Mom, college is 4 years. Like this course is going to take me a week. I'm not doing that." So anyway, I ended up buying Billy Wilson's course. I start my first agency when I was 17, scaled up a few different agencies since then. I think we've built 9 agencies. 7 of those did 6 figures or multi six figures. 2 of those did multi seven figures. Now I'm into software, so I'm not in the agency world at all. Um, I'm completely out of that space now. I feel like it was a great stepping stone, but ultimately, I'll just be real with y'all. I don't want to be running a marketing agency for the rest of my life. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. But I also want to help you guys make your agency journey less painful, help share some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. Wisdom is prevention, right? Wisdom is prevention. So all the failures and mistakes I made, I'm hoping that has given me a little bit of agency wisdom that I can share with you to prevent you from making some of the same mistakes that I made. Because I made a lot of freaking mistakes. So that said, that's kind of me in a nutshell. And yeah, I'm excited to be on with y'all.
Sweet, nice. So I think everyone's there should be a few more guys joining, but I think we could pretty much get into it. So I
Oh,
guess we could kind of just do if you want to like how do you think we should actually structure this? I think we probably just like do overall Q&A. I think everyone if anyone has any questions, just literally put them in the chat and then we could kind of get going. But any like do you have any like general sauce and stuff like that? Maybe specifically towards some of the top agencies that you scaled, and kind of
yeah. So
how they were structured and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So if we could start with just, I'd love to get to know everybody here a little bit, even in, just in a broad sense. So if you could just type in the chat where you're from, that'd be awesome. And then I have another question for you guys, and then that will kind of help me tailor more of what we can talk about. Calling from Hawaii. Let's go. What part? So kind of like newer agencies kind of getting off the ground. We got some people at 9, 10, 15K a month, which is honestly, that's the hardest part is how do you get the first 10? How do you get the first 10K a month? Going from there, it's just a couple of tweaks, a couple of levers to pull, and then boom, you're off to 100. Sweet. Well, Eric, yeah, I mean, I can give like general sauce. I can try to give some general advice. I'd also love to obviously make it interactive and just hear like what do you guys feel like you're struggling with and how can we brainstorm it together? I'd say just off the initial numbers that I'm seeing from people, the biggest lesson that I learned was actually from Joel Kaplan. And he shared this with me. This was 5 years ago. I was actually watching his interview with Billy Wilson. And Joel in the podcast, he says one of the biggest things I've learned is to be reactive instead of proactive. And Billy stops. Billy's like, you mean be proactive instead of reactive, right? And Joel's like, no, I mean be reactive instead of proactive. See, too many people in the beginning, they're trying to solve all these problems that aren't even there yet. They're trying to figure out how am I going to provide the best product when they have no clients. They're trying to figure out how do I have the nicest website when they have no clients. They're trying to figure out how do I train my media buyer when they have one client. They should just be doing the media buying themselves. So that pierced me like a nail, right? That pierced my heart because I was in this spot where I had the skills, I had the talent, I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't making 200 cold calls a day. I wasn't doing all the outreach I should have been doing. I wasn't getting on sales calls and just trying to close deals. I was trying to be so proactive in setting up my business rather than just going out and getting clients. And so the biggest thing that Joel taught me was be reactive instead of proactive. Don't go out to the problems. Just solve the most important problem that you're facing right now. And then the real problems will start to reveal themselves to you. And then you'll know what you actually need to solve. And to put that a little more tactically, what Joel really flipped my paradigm on was stop worrying about service delivery until you actually have clients to serve. Until you have 10 active clients, you should just be trying to get as many clients as possible. All of your time should just go into calling people, DMs, cold email, paid ads, outreach, outreach, outreach. The person with the most clients wins because they get the most data. They have the most money to reinvest to build the best product. You can't build a great product when you're at 0 clients. It's really, really hard to do. So that's the biggest lesson that I think I learned to really get me from that like 3, 4, 5K a month range where I was really just stuck and I wasn't I wasn't breaking through that plateau of a few $1,000s a month. And then the second I heard Joel talk about this, changed my paradigm completely. And eventually we scaled to 150K a month. We went from 15K a month to 150K a month in 90 days. And all of that. So like for you guys at 10K a month right now, imagine that. Imagine 90 days from now, you're doing 100K a month. That is completely possible, right? That's completely possible. It just depends on where do you put your energy every single day? What are you focusing on? The second we started focusing on acquisition, not only did our product actually get better because we had more data, but we also made a lot more money. So I won't keep ranting on that front. Does that make sense? Does that lesson speak to anybody? Just drop a 1 if that kind of resonates with where you're at, if that's somewhat helpful. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Eric, you tell me where you want to take it from here. I could just keep ranting, but
Yeah. Let's just say like tell us a bit more of the story for the guys who are at like let's say about 10K a month right now. What was the actual step-by-step process from you to get to 10K to like or 15K to 150K a month in 90 days?
yeah, that's a great question. Number one, when we were doing 10K a month, we plateaued there. We're actually doing 15K a month. We plateaued at 15K a month because me and the other partner in the business were both product minded. We didn't have a sales minded person driving the revenue. An agency needs somebody who is constantly obsessed with producing revenue. All they think about all day long is how do I make the company money today? How do I get a deal in today? And so I called a friend of mine, Jared Curry. If anybody knows Jared Curry, drop a 2 in the chat. Be curious. I called Jared Curry and I was like, hey, dude, I really think we need a CEO who knows sales in this business. We have a pretty good product. There's a ton of clients. We're getting clients and we don't even really know what we're doing. Jared, if you came in and partnered with me on this business, I think we could scale it to 100K a month in the next 6 months. And Jared was like, what niche are you in? I said real estate. And he said, heck no, I'm never working with realtors. I hate realtors. Hangs up the phone. That's it. I'm not working with realtors. He calls me back a week later and he says, all right, dude, I'll do it on one condition. One condition I'll work with you and your realtors. We put every dime we have back into paid ads. Every single dollar we make, we reinvest back into growth. If you agree to do that, I'll work with you. I say, sure, of course, I'll do it. Not knowing how much Jared really meant that. He comes in, we partner up. Jared takes over sales. He raises our price from 1K a month to now he did 1,500 a month or $6,000 if they pay for 6 months in full. So that's one of the first levers we pulled to get tactical. We created a paid in full option, a 6 month paid in full. We just raised the price. We didn't change the product. We didn't even really change the pitch. We just literally raised the price and we made a pay in full option. Next thing you know, like 2 days later, we're selling 6K paid in fulls. The other thing that Jared did is he started recruiting salespeople. He said, look, I know how to sell this thing. I'm going to sell this thing, but I also want us to move so fast. I'm going to start bringing in salespeople to sell it with me. So we raise the price, we recruit salespeople to start selling with us, and we reinvest every single dollar we had into paid ads. Jared and I took no money from the company until 6 months in. We took no money. Every single dollar we made went right back into paid ads. And so the reason we scaled so quickly, Eric, is because when we were doing 15K a month, guess how much we were spending on paid ads? Just guess. I'd love to see some guesses in the chat. How much do you think we were spending on paid ads when we were doing 15K a month in revenue? How much do you think we were spending on paid ads? 10K, 15K, 0K, 3K, 0. We were spending $1,000 per month. $1,000 per month. Guess how many salespeople we had when we were doing 15K a month? Guess how many closers we had? One. We had one closer. We were spending $1,000 a month. Now, 3 months later, when we were doing 150K a month, guess how much we were spending on paid ads? When we were doing 150K a month, guess how much we were spending on paid ads per month? Jasper thought we were spending all the revenue. He said, man, you're putting everything back. We were spending $30,000 a month. $30,000 a month on ads to do 150K. Guess how many closers we had when we were doing 150K a month? 5. Exactly. We went from 1 closer to 5 closers. We went from 1K a month to 30K a month in ad spend. And that's why we went from 15K a month to 150K a month. When you break it down that way, it's like it sounds simple. And it kind of is, guys. It actually is. Like scaling an agency is the simplest business in the world. It's just hard. And it's hard because we overthink doing the thing we know we need to do. And so really, the number one thing I think an agency owner has to learn to go from 0 to 7 figures is how to make decisions quickly and actually just execute on them. Most people are just making decisions too slow. They know they need to get a setter, but then they take 3 weeks to get a setter. It's like, dude, you know you need to get a setter. Just get one. Just spend the money, do what you have to do the interviews. Just get it done. You know you need to get a closer, but you take 2 months to get a closer. Just get the closer. Jared brought in 3 closers in a week. He brought in 3 closers in a week, and he raised the ad spend from 1K a month to like 1K a day. Of course we scaled quickly. So I can continue to try to break that down, but I think that hopefully paints the picture of where our minds were at and what the philosophy was that allowed us to scale so quickly. I was completely focused on the back end and quality control. We actually had no clients leave in those 3 months. We went from 15K to 150K, not a single client left. I was focused on back end. Jared was focused on front end. And that was really a great dichotomy, if you will, because Jared is constantly trying to break the back end and I'm constantly trying to keep the back end alive. That was essentially my job, is how do I make sure this operation does not break? And it should feel like you're putting out fires every day. If you're scaling an agency quickly, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like systems are breaking, people are confused, problems are happening. That's why you need somebody completely focused on back end, completely focused on front end, if you want to scale that aggressively. And let me just give one last caveat before we keep going. You don't need to scale that aggressively. If you want to, cool. If you have partners, if you want that growth, I think there's a lot of good experience that will come from that. There's also a lot to be said for scaling slowly, keeping margins very, very high, and playing it a little bit safer, I guess you could say. Playing it a little bit safer. There's 2 different paths, right? There's the slow and steady or there's the rocket ship. I prefer the rocket ship because it's a lot more fun. So that's a little bit more of the story of Estate AI.
Yeah, I think some of the guys were asking like, how did you actually hire the closers
Yeah,
for say
we had a recruiter named Jace Gray. I don't know if Jace Gray still does recruiting. Jake Queen is another good recruiter. We just reinvested our money. So we were we had like $7,000 in the bank and we had like $9,000 in expenses, and thankfully we closed a PIF and we didn't go negative, but we were being so aggressive financially. We were being so aggressive financially. If you look up the definition of an entrepreneur, it says one who starts a business or one who starts businesses, especially taking financial risk to do so. Especially taking, that's literally in the definition of the word entrepreneur. And Jared embodies that. If you know Jared, that dude just like, he doesn't care. He will risk it all. And I was the exact opposite way. Um, I didn't want to risk it. I wanted to play it safe. I wanted to be conservative. I wanted to settle. Jared wanted to go big or go home. And so we reinvested everything into recruiters. We spent like 5K to find a closer. So we would pay a recruiter $5,000. They would find us a closer. We also had some connections in Facebook groups. We knew other agency owners who hadn't been successful, but they were good at sales. We brought in those guys to come sell for us. We just like leveraged our network, our connections, and recruiters. Those were the two main things: network and recruiters, network and recruiters.
And what would you say for guys who are kind of at, let's just say their first few clients or even at zero, like what would you say the fastest way uh would be to hit like 10K month kind of thing?
If they
In
have money or if they don't have money,
let's just say they have a few grand. Yeah.
few grand. I would probably set up some cold email, spend $100 a month or whatever on a cold email software, get a list of everyone in your niche. You can get a list. I mean, you want to be in a niche that has at least 50,000 people, 50,000 businesses. Get a list of every single person in your niche or as many people as you can, right? Maybe 20,000, 10,000, whatever. And then I would start cold emailing, and I would also cold call that same list. So I would just pound that list through cold email and cold call. What I love about cold call is it's teaching you some invaluable skills. Number one, it's teaching you how to face rejection, which is one of the foundational skills of building a successful business, is being able to get punched in the face repeatedly and still get back up. Nothing teaches you that better than cold call. It also teaches you how to actually just get good at sales. How do you persuade somebody over the phone? How do you get somebody to go from not interested to hearing what you have to say? That's such a valuable skill. So I would say I'm a big fan of cold calling. I'm a big fan of free trials as well. I really think free trials, I don't know if they're popular or not right now, but I think they should make a comeback if they're not popular. I did 50 free trials before I ever started going direct to sale. I did 50 free trials for gym owners. This was my very first agency. All we did to scale, guys, it really was this simple. We sent 100 cold emails a day. We sent 100 LinkedIn messages a day. This is when LinkedIn was still a thing. I don't think it's a thing anymore. We were doing 100 cold emails, 100 LinkedIn messages, asking to work for free in exchange for a quick testimonial. Eventually, we got people who would say yes. We would do a 1 to 2 week long free trial. We would try to get them a ton of leads. We would use Go High Level to nurture the leads, et cetera, et cetera. And then after that week, we would hop back on with the owner and we would say, hey, we started to get some traction. It's still really early, but this is what we can do for you. Let's have a conversation. And it was basically like getting a warm pitch. We were getting ourselves warm pitches through doing the free trials. We built trust with the business owner. We built a relationship. And then when we went on to pitch them, it made it a much easier conversation. So we did, I think, 50 free trials. All of those came through cold email, cold call, and LinkedIn outreach. Um, so yeah, that would be my recommendation. Free trials, organic outreach, and just spend all your time planting seeds, whether it's through email, Instagram, cold calling, whatever. All your time goes into planting seeds and getting meetings. Don't worry about anything else about how many meetings am I going to get this week. That's it.
So I think yeah, some of the boys have some questions in the chat we could kind of go
Cool.
over.
I'm gonna just
Yeah.
go those. Also, if people want to like raise their hands and
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can talk it
yeah.
back and forth, that's cool. If anybody wants to raise their hand, they can. I'll try to read some of these from the chat. Jasper, how many clients do you have? Cold SMS, I've never tried it, to be honest. Is cold email effective in every niche? No, some more than others, probably. But with free trials, it definitely can do well. As a one-person agency, what would you say is the first hire someone should make after scaling up ad spend other than a setter? Whatever's causing you the most headache in the agency, hire for that. If media buying is causing you the most headache, hire that so you can go back to doing what you're good at and what you enjoy. Producing revenue is kind of an exception there because it's hard to get somebody to produce revenue for you if they're not actually like a partner in some way. It's really hard. That's why you kind of have to figure out how to produce revenue, or you need to find someone who can. And it's hard to just have two clients and then hire a great salesperson and they're just going to build your front end for you. That just usually doesn't work. Scale aggressively without having service down and figure it out as you go. Yes, exactly, Ollie. That's exactly it, to be honest. Because your service, like at the end of the day, it's Facebook ads, GHL. Maybe you're using like an AI setter, like uh, a Pointwise or like Zappy Chat or whatever, right? At the end of the day, that's the service. It's like there's only so many levers you can pull. My roommate Josh Rivera loves to say, we're not Steve Jobs. We're running a local marketing agency. We just run Facebook ads for people and we send them leads and we nurture the leads. It's not rocket science. Your product's already probably 90% as good as it will ever be. That might make some of you frustrated, but it's true. Your product's probably 90% as good as it will ever be. Just focus on getting better at sales. And if you're finding like people really like your product's flopping completely, well, you need enough data to actually know it's the product and not the clients. Like you need to work with at least 20, 30 people to figure that out, at least, if not 50. I know we have hands up, but I just wanted to get through some of these as well. Curious on niche selection. Find a niche that has a lot of seven-figure agency owners and go into that niche. That people that are doing seven figures right now, those niches are usually the best niches. There's a reason they're doing well. There's a reason there's successful agencies in there. Any YouTube sauce, good artists copy, great artists steal. Find YouTube videos that work, recreate them, put your own authentic twist on it. That's been my entire strategy with YouTube. I've really been slacking the last couple months, but we're getting back into it. We have 10 clients right now. Yeah, Jasper, I would just use like Monday.com or ClickUp, something simple. What are your opinions when someone says SMMA is saturated? Everything's saturated. Real estate saturated. Coaching saturated. YouTube saturated. Winners win, losers lose. I could build an agency to 100K a month right now. I'm not trying to say this to be braggadocious. I'm just saying this. I genuinely believe this. I could build an agency to 100K a month in the next 60 days. So if it's saturated, why? Well, how much could Hermosi scale to? Right? Like if Hermosi started an SMMA tomorrow, let's say he gave up on acquisition.com. He was just like, screw this. I just want to run another gym launch. How long would it take Hermosi to hit 100K a month? 2 weeks? A week? He could probably be at 100K a month within the next week, dude. If that doesn't kind of like change our perspective, I don't know what will. Like Hermosi could be doing 100K a month in the next 14 days. It's not saturated. Our mindset and our approach is saturated, and we're lazy. I'm just gonna be real. Like we're lazy and we're not doing the hard things we need to do. And someone like Hermosi would step in, do the hard stuff, give it his all. He'd be cranking 14-hour days, caring about nothing but building the agency, and he would be there in 2 weeks. Gym launch is still a thing. Yeah, he sold it. Show up rate and roofing niche. Any general tips on how to increase this? Yeah, it's a tough niche for show ups, bro. That is a tough niche for show ups. Obviously you need good appointment reminders. You want somebody to triage. So you need a triage system if you're familiar with that. If not, we can kind of brainstorm that a little bit. What made you leave an agency that was making 300K MRR? It's a great question. We weren't doing 300K MRR. We were doing 300K revenue, right? A lot of that was PIF. We were probably doing like 150 MRR. And that was our best month, right? Our best month was 292. It's 292. And then it kind of settled out at like 200. And then after a while, bro, you're just like, you're working with realtors, you're running through the same problems every single day, and it's not exciting, it's not enjoyable, it's not fun. Um, I don't want to say I was burnt out, but I didn't see the vision. And I feel like I thrive off of having a vision for where I want to take my life and what I want to do. And also, if I'm being radically honest with you guys, like what I care about most now is creating a product that actually helps people, like really, like consistently helps people. And I feel like it's really hard to do that with an agency. Not that you can't help people, not that our agency didn't help people. We had clients who said, we changed their lives, right? My mom became a client. She was a real estate agent. She spent 4K on ads. She made $60,000 in profit off our system. Like we were able to make a lot of people a lot of money and help them, but we also had a lot of people who didn't make any money and they left pissed and they were upset. They felt like they wasted their money. They felt like they wasted their time. And I didn't like that feeling, even if it was their fault, even if they were being lazy, even if they weren't working their leads. I just eventually I was like, okay, the juice is not worth the squeeze. This has taught me a lot. This has been fun. I've learned a lot, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a business like this where it's like a coin flip on whether or not someone gets value out of your service. I didn't like that. So that's what led me to software. Because software is the same thing every time for everyone. All right, I'll stop reading those. We can actually get into some hands up. See, root he, dude, I don't want to butcher it. How do I pronounce your name correctly?
Ah, you're good. You're good. Rudir. Yeah.
Rudier. Okay, nice to meet
Yeah.
you, bro. How can I?
Awesome, bro. Nice to meet you too, for sure. Yeah, man. I just had like two simple questions over here. I mean, not simple, but two questions over here, pretty much. So, like, the first one, I would say, like, as you're like scaling from like 10 to 100K, like, what are the main things that you've seen hold people back in terms of the mindset and tactics wise as well, like just being stuck or like wasting time?
What do I think holds somebody back, like mindset wise? Like what causes them to waste time?
Yeah, because a lot of people like I feel like they scale to like 10, 20, 30, and they're kind of just stuck over there. And some people do want to scale, but like I feel like maybe the motivation's not there, or maybe the motivation is there, but the strategy that they're using is not the most ideal to get to the next level. So, like, what have you kind of seen in your experience, like, hold people back? Because I know Josh has scaled really aggressively as well, and you were working with him, and yeah, like you've seen Jared's operation as well. Like, you're literally, it was your agency. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the switch from my first five agencies all plateaued at like 20, 30K a month. And then when Jared came in, we scaled to seven figures for the first time. Without Jared, I wouldn't have done it. I'd be at 30K a month right now if it weren't for Jared. Um,
yeah,
I think that the difference is what I really saw that Jared embodied is leadership, and he saw the importance of building a team and going from executor, which is like 20, 30K a month, to executive. Like you have to go from the one doing the thing to now your North Star is not how well do I sell. It's not how well do I run ads. It's how well do I lead other people to do those things for the business. And that's like the primary switch that has to happen to go to seven figures or multi seven figures. It really comes down to team um, and recruiting and leadership. Like those are the two skills the person now has to focus on is how do I recruit great people and how do I lead them? And honestly, 30K a month, it's like you don't even need great people yet. I would say to get to like eight figures or multi seven figures, you need great people at 30K a month to go to 100, you just need somebody besides you. You just need to start building a team. Of course, you want to find good people, but it's not like you need rock stars, right? You just need pretty good people and you need to lead them the best you can. And it's about making that shift in your mind of I'm not going to be the one doing the thing anymore. I'm simply going to inspire and lead the people who are doing the thing and only step in when I have to. Does that make
okay.
sense?
Yeah, that completely makes sense. So pretty much you're saying like once you kind of get to like that 30 level, pretty much it is time to pretty much like your focus should be on finding people that are actually going to help you pretty much scale to the next level. Because a lot of people they
Yeah.
told me in the past that you should kind of do that, around like 50, 60K or beyond, that you can pretty much scale yourself and all that. But yeah, I feel like that makes much more sense. Like you have to turn into a CEO at some point.
Yeah, I mean, just for like reference, Jared and I with the State AI, I think we had when we were doing 15K a month, it was me, him, the other co-founder, and then we brought in two salespeople. So we had a sales team, we had a total sales team of four. Then there was Jared and I. I hired a CSM and a media buyer. So we had like an 8-person team at
Oh my
20K a month.
God.
A month. That's pretty aggressive, but it's because
Yeah.
we just had a lot of conviction that we were going to be scaling very, very quickly. Um, Actually, I don't think we hired the CSM until we were doing 30K a month. And the media buyer, I don't think we hired until we were doing 30K a month. So at 30K a month, we had an 8-person team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's solid, bro. Like so pretty much like and you guys are two people. Like I'm pretty much like a one person guy, just over here with like a video editor. So like
Yeah. Is your skill, it froze for a little bit, but is your skill sales or back end?
honestly, like right now it would be more sales. Yes. Yes.
Good. That's the more important skill, to be honest. Dude, you could just find like a white label agency, honestly. The State
Yeah.
AI, we white labeled until 30K a month. We used a white label agency. And they just ran all the fulfillment and we just focused on sales. And then once it got to 30K a month, that's when we brought it in-house.
Yeah.
So that's something you could consider to move faster is you just focus on building a sales machine, hire a white label agency, and then maybe an account manager. Then you're just all in on producing revenue.
Yeah, that would be a game changer because that's what happens. Like I'm in that sales momentum and then, signed a bunch of clients and then pretty much you have to stop, put on like the brakes and then it kills momentum. So yeah, I think I
Yeah,
should look into that. Yeah.
cool. Carol, how you doing, bro?
Hey Matt, all good. Really good to meet you, honestly. I admire your stuff. I've been watching you for quite a lot now, so really good. My
Much love.
question is kind of for somebody who's doing that, 6, 7,000 a month, so relatively like smaller stuff. And I don't kind of feel like it's consistent, and I sort of have it. I might sort of lose it every like any day. So what's kind of the mindset shift you'd give to make it a bit more like kind of a business than something like just a few clients that can drop.
Yeah, honestly, it'll be somewhat similar. I don't want to beat a dead horse all meeting, but it's somewhat similar to what I said with starting to hire. I would ask you this though, Carol, how many appointments have you gotten in the last week?
Uh, I can look at my calendar last week, 8.
8. So then I would be asking you, how do you go from 8 appointments a week to 8 appointments a day?
Yeah, probably just doing more stuff, more volume.
How are you getting appointments right now?
So I called SMS, and I'm trying to get into ads. So
What niche?
roofing and just home improvement.
Yeah, dude, you crack B2B ads for roofing, it's off to the races, bro. Roofing is one of the best niches for paid ads. It's
Okay.
one of the best niches for paid ads. So if you crack paid ads for roofing, you're doing 6, 7K a month. Um, where's most of your time going?
Well, I'm also in university, so I'm kind of half half. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's the thing. But mainly, I mean, I'm just
Why are you
trying
staying?
to. Why? Because I mean that's a good question. It's my third month, so when I was joining, applying a year ago, I didn't even know that I'll be doing this stuff, and now I don't know. It's just hard to sort of pull the trigger. So I'm still here, but my main focus is pretty much just setting appointments and doing sales calls. I'm not doing anything else. Trying to do paid ads as well,
How many more years of university do you have?
but well, I'm doing my first, so it depends. But
Uh,
my plan,
uh-oh.
honestly, so I talked about this with my parents. My plan was to sort of suspend it, not drop out, or for example, suspend it after like a first year or something. So maybe that's the thing, maybe less than 1 year. But
Take a
I
gap
don't
year.
know. Maybe yeah, something like this.
Could you not take a gap year? Could you not like finish this semester and then take a gap year starting in the new year? Starting
I
2025?
don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so.
Okay.
I would have to make sure, but
To be honest, it will be hard to build a 7-figure agency while you're in school. It's just gonna be really hard. You're doing 6, 7K a month, like bro. I didn't make 6, 7K a month until I don't think I took home $6,000 or $7,000 a month until like a year of being in the agency space. Like our agency was doing 20K a month, but I had a partner, I had all this other stuff. I was taking home like 5K a month. Took me a year. And the best thing that ever happened to me, bro, and I'm not going to give you advice on this because it's so personal. I don't want to peer pressure you to drop out, although I would peer pressure you to drop out if there weren't other people here. Online university also, that's great advice. Great advice. Online school. It's kind of lame, but like allows you to make some money. One of the best things that happened to me is my parents said, "Hey, Matt, you have 10 months to make X amount of money, or you're gonna have to find somewhere else to live." I was 17, and they said, "Hey, you have 10 months, and we're basically kicking you out, or you're gonna be making enough money to start paying rent." And that lit a fire under me because I didn't have the safety. I didn't have the security. I didn't have the backup plan. It was either build an agency or die. That's how it felt. It literally felt that extreme. Like if I don't figure this out, I'm gonna end up on the streets.
yeah,
So the thing to think about is like, bro, if you're doing 6 to 7K while in college, if all you did every day was wake up and work on the agency and you were all in on it, how much further could that take you? And would you
yeah,
rather can you live with the potential of taking that risk and it not working? Because you can always
yeah,
go back to school.
yeah. That's true. I mean,
So something to think about.
kind of the reason I asked my question, the original one, because it's not like I've been making 7,000 like a month for like like a year or something. I literally started like a month ago or something. So for the first 3 months, I didn't make a penny, or like 2 months. Then I signed my client, then I went to uni, and now I have like 5 clients right now. But I
Okay.
just kind of fear that I can sort of lose it all anytime, and that's kind of
Is your skill sales or back end?
I think more back end. I mean, I would love for it to be sales, but I'm not confident on sales. So
Something that could be interesting is exploring if you have a good system for the back end, or if that's your specialty, finding somebody who's good at sales and exploring partnerships there. That could be really interesting because you're in school, so it's like it's going to be hard for you to balance front end and back end, especially if front end's not your gift. If back end's more your gift, then could be really interesting to find a partner in this group or in a school community or something like that who can start to take over the sales a little bit. There's pros and cons to that, but 6 to 7K a month, this is going to sound contrary to the advice I gave earlier, but I'm just trying to think about you specifically, Carol. I would make sure you're treating those clients amazingly, right?
oh
Like
yeah,
when I say focus on scaling and like focus on getting appointments, I'm not saying ignore your clients. I want to be really clear. I'm not saying like disregard your clients and don't take great care of them. Like you should be messaging them every day, every other day, checking in, sending them gifts, calling them out of the blue. How are you doing? I'm just checking in on you. Like really, really taking great care of them. And that's gonna increase your retention. So that will hopefully
yeah,
alleviate some of that fear of, oh, I'm gonna lose all my business this month. It's like, well, if you're talking to your clients every other day, you kind of know where they're at and you can get a really good pulse on what's revenue input and output going to look like this month. Who's going to leave, who's going to stay. And then of course, you just need to make sure your input matches your output. So if you're going to lose 2 clients a month, you got to be getting at least 2 clients a month. But we're talking about settling in that business. We're talking about staying at 6, 7K a month. I don't think you want to stay there. I think you want to scale, if I had to guess.
yeah,
So
obviously.
think about, bro, partner, dropping out of school or going online, taking a gap year. I won't say dropping out, I'll say taking a gap year. And just making sure you're obsessing over clients and specifically client relationships and your interactions with them and your relationship with them.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. And there are pros and cons to having partners. So I do want to touch on that super quick because it's not relevant for everybody. Panos, dude, I'm sorry if I'm not saying names correctly. Panos, Trying my best. You bring up a good point. How do I say it?
Just Panos.
Panos. Okay. Are you Greek?
Yes, I am indeed.
Nice. Do you live in Greece?
I do not. I grew up there. I live in Thailand now.
Okay, that's sick. Very cool. Um, I'm reading a book right now about Greek monks, Greek Orthodox monks, and it's blowing my mind. I really want to go to Greece.
Athos?
But anyway, yeah, Mount Athos and Cyprus.
Yeah, 100% recommend. I know people that have been there. It's magical.
Do you know like oh bro, you saying it's magical? Like I'm about to book my flight next week. Do you know, have you like is this commonly talked about there? Like what is it? Father Maximos, Father Paisios, like those guys, are those people you've heard of and are familiar with?
Paisios, yes. Paisios, yes. Especially in recent times, because there was some prophecies that actually came true quite recently. But yeah, I would
Really?
100% recommend going there. Just apply for a visa today, man. Just send the application.
I might have to, bro. Okay, very cool. I'll have to pick your brain on that more. Pros and cons to partners. If you're good at sales, I don't think you need to give away equity to partner with somebody just to take care of the back end. I think sales is the more important skill here. If you're not good at sales, it's going to be really important for you to find someone who is and can take the company to 100K a month in revenue. The pros and cons of partners, a pro of partnering with somebody is honestly just it's more fun. Like you're less lonely. It's more enjoyable. When fires happen, you have somebody to share the burden with. I wouldn't have enjoyed building my agency without my partner, even though he caused me so many headaches. Like freaking Jared and I joke all the time because he was such a pain in my side and I was to him too. That's kind of part of the game, right? A partnership is like a marriage. But you only want to partner with somebody if they have something that you don't. So they have time that you don't have, which is why I gave that advice to Carol, who's in college. You want somebody who has time that you don't have, or skills that you don't have, or they have some sort of resources or connections or money that you don't have. So they need some sort of resource that you don't have. But you don't want to just partner with somebody because you like them and they're cool and you want to build a business together. That's the worst reason to partner with somebody. They need to bring something to the table that you don't have. So those are kind of some of the thoughts. The other cons are just you're giving up more money. You really need to make sure they're the right person. It's so easy to rush into partnerships and then you get screwed or something bad happens. Ideally, you know your partner before you partner. Ideally, you have some sort of relationship with them. You've been in the groups together. You were friends. Jared and I knew each other for about a year before we actually partnered together. So that's also really important because it's too easy to get screwed in partnerships, to be honest. Let's see. How far, when you have a business partner, how far can you scale before building a team? You can kind of fill it out, dude. Like I know people who got to 50K a month with 30 clients just by themselves. So like that is possible, but at what cost? They're working 60 hours a week. I mean, they're making a ton of profit, but they're working 60 hours a week. Their business will never sell. It's not even really a business. They're just a glorified freelancer. So, it really depends, Jasper. I don't think there's a one size fit all answer to that, to be honest with you. How did I navigate the partnerships and rev share? 50-50 for these partnerships. If you're starting really early stages and it's a partner who's worth partnering with, they're probably going to want an equal percentage of ownership. So I just like to keep it equal. If you already have a foundation, like 10K a month, 20K a month, you might be able to get away with like 75-25 your way. You know, you can kind of feel it out. Profit margins at like the 200-300K a month range, Marco, we were doing like 30% margins. Some months we did 40, some months we did 10. There were months where we lost money. There were a couple months where State AI was negative because we had slow sales months. We spent a lot on ads. We just had bad sales months, right? So we had a couple negative months. That happens, but our first year in business, I think we did 2.2 million in revenue and we did like 750 in take home profit. So that's like 29% or something like that. Yeah. What caused the slow sales months? Good question. A lot of it's sales management. I don't think we need to go too deep down this path here because I don't think anybody has a sales team. But a lot of it was sales management, sales team culture, and also just where the market was at. The market in real estate fluctuates a lot. How would you build an agency with the goal of it being a business you can sell? That is a great question, Jasper. There's a few things you need to keep in mind. Number one, who wants to sell their agency one day? Just drop a 3 in the chat if you want to sell your agency one day. Just curious who this applies to. Okay. Everybody should want to sell their agency one day. Hot take. Hot opinion. I could be completely wrong on that. But even if you don't want to sell, you should build it as if you are going to sell. And there's a good book you can read about this called Built to Sell. Built to Sell. That's a good book you can check out about how to build a business to sell. Number one, you need the business to operate without you. So if you ever want to sell the business, that's the tough thing about coaching businesses. It's really, really hard to sell. Almost impossible if your personal brand's attached to it, because you need the business to be able to run without you. You also need a consistent way of acquiring clients that makes sense to the buyer. So if you're just acquiring off referrals and word of mouth, it's really hard to systemize that. That's why paid ads are so powerful. You can just show the client or the buyer, hey, we put in $1, we get $4 back. This is our system. Those are the main two things. Like, can it run without you? Does it consistently produce revenue? Hermosi says it like this: is there a believable story of growth? So is there a reason your business has grown that makes sense, that the buyer can hold on to and understand, that will give them the belief that it will continue to grow without you and that they can continue to keep it growing? So believable story of growth. It runs without you. It has a systemized way of producing revenue. And then probably the most valuable thing besides that is monthly recurring revenue. Is it sticky? Right? That's why software businesses get such high multiples, is they have consistent recurring revenue. That's why I love software. Agencies, it's hard to do this, right? It's a little bit harder than SaaS, but it's still doable. You have to become obsessed with, how do we produce recurring revenue? How do we produce recurring revenue? How do we get our clients to pay month after month after month? Those are kind of the main things that a buyer is going to look for. Consistent revenue, believable story of growth, business running without you, systemized acquisition. And then maybe there was one more I forgot. Is it better to start branding or making content as soon as possible, or should we wait a certain point and put focus into cold outreach and service delivery? Yuval, you're talking about making content for your personal brand?
Yep.
What do you want to make content about?
Like for my niche and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
for your niche.
yeah, for like warm outreach. I don't know.
I mean, dude, you can try content. You can try content. What niche are you in?
Like right now, let's say lawyers and stuff. But I mean, like, should I just I'm doing like 2.5K a month, and so should I
Yeah.
just like put full focus into like ads and cold outreach, or should I just put like take some of that time and like put it into like content like on Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know a lot of people who have crushed it with content, if I'm being honest with you, that have just like been able to acquire a lot of clients through content. I do think it's doable. I think there's also something interesting to be said for sponsoring influencers in your niche, like finding lawyers. The problem is lawyers who make content probably have so much money, like you're probably gonna have to pay them a lot to like promote you. But in real estate, we found like real estate meme pages and we paid them to shout us out. Things like that. So you can try to crack content, or you can go to somebody who already has, and then you can just partner with them or pay them. I would say try content and see how it does. If like the only way to find out is to actually try, like make content for a couple weeks and just see, is this getting in the right algorithms? Am I getting the right eyeballs? Am I getting some sort of interest? And keep going from there and kind of evaluate after a couple weeks.
Thanks.
Because it's just it's so nuanced, honestly. I don't know. Maybe your content pops off. I don't know. Which platform did you find your best CSM through? We found our best CSM through a recruiter. I love recruiters, guys. I love recruiters. I love paying a fat chunk of money to just have somebody do the work for me and find the person. It makes you go so much faster. We paid 5K for that person. And then we started hiring onshore US based CSMs, and then eventually we hired overseas CSMs, and the overseas CSMs were actually better. Because what I found out about American employees, guys, is American employees whine and they complain and we're American, so we should have it the easy way. You know, no, dude. You take somebody from the Philippines, they're like, oh, bro, I don't care. Clients pissed off, cussing me out over email. I'm just grateful I have a job. I'm just glad to be here. Like overseas, it's just there's so much better. And so we started hiring CSMs overseas. We were paying like 1,500 a month, 2K a month. We found them through recruiters as well. I'll give you guys this nugget if you don't already know this company. Remote Latinos, which really is like a sus business name, dude. Remote Latinos, kind of sketch. But Remote Latinos on Mir Block, we found a lot of VAs, setters, CSMs, media buyers. We found a lot of people through them. I think they actually have a website now, like an onlinejobs.ph, but it's for Latin America. So I think you can find some people on there. And yeah, we paid like 2K a month to have them place somebody. And then eventually we got to the point where we just asked our team, hey, who do you know that would be a good fit here? And we gave a bounty for our team to recruit people. Hey, but we'll give you $500 if you recruit somebody who gets hired. Or salespeople will pay you $1,000. I was just at WAP headquarters last week. If anybody knows WAP, they're paying people $10,000 to recruit an engineer to come work at WAP. Your best talent already knows your best future talent. So just pay the good people on your team to try to recruit for you and find their friends. That was a really effective strategy for us. Okay. Eric, what you thinking? Should I just keep going?
Yeah.
Do we want to do some hands? Do we want to yeah, what do you think? I want to make sure we make this as valuable as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think maybe some of the guys could who are dropping questions in the chat can maybe raise their hands if you're down for that.
Yes, 100%. People
Okay.
actually talk about it.
Yeah. Maybe I think Ollie actually asked, or if you want to raise your hand, Ollie, you had a question about the PIFs and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably more of like a niche question, but I was just saying, like, after you've got a client on their first PIF, when that expires, what offer do you go about using next typically? Would you try get another PIF again, or do you go on to like a monthly retainer?
Yeah, great question. What we found works best is just it goes right into an auto renew of whatever the PIF price is, but now divided monthly. So like
Oh, okay.
6K for 6 months just went right into 997.
Can you do that through Stripe automatically?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
You can, so there's a couple options, right? You can set up the PIF, and then when they're you can set up the PIF, and you can also set up a subscription to start 6 months after their PIF. Eventually, we hired a tech wizard, and he automated all this stuff for us. That was one of the best hires we ever made. Was just a engineer, a software engineer who just went and automated everything. But you might have to do it kind of manually in the beginning.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Bart, since we haven't heard from Bart yet, how you doing, man? How can I help?
Hello, man. So my question is in the position of someone who cannot get licensed because I'm in the UK, but I want to at least have something similar to doing it on commission. So the plan is for offers to have an upfront cost, which is a great deal by comparison, and then also kind of a on commission cost, where, for example, if the average house price is so and so, we would do a flat fee based off that for each deal they close. So, for example, 2K for closing a house worth, I don't know, 400, for example.
Yeah.
So my question is, how sketchy is it legally, and are they going to be freaked out if I offer that.
So for real estate agents
Yeah.
in the UK,
No, in the US.
in the US, okay, but you're in the UK.
Yeah.
How legal is it? It's definitely illegal.
Okay.
So there's that. Um, I would instead do something like a pay-per appointment
Mm.
or something like that. It might be less sketchy to do a pay per flat deal. So like I think you mentioned this, right? One deal they pay you $500 or something. But I think pay per appointment could also be really interesting. But it's definitely illegal. You definitely gotta be cautious there. You probably won't have anything happen to you, but I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend running it that way.
Okay, so when you say flat fee being like maybe okay, so you mean like one flat fee for every single client, not based of like anything at all, but we can get a kind of a performance bonus, so to speak, and that's okay.
Potentially, it's probably still illegal, so I would look into it.
Hmm?
I
I
think
don't
it is,
wanna.
yeah. I
Okay.
actually looked into it. I'm pretty sure it is legal, but
It is legal or it's illegal?
illegal to get any sort of
Yeah.
like indirect compensation for closing. But I think you were talking to was it you? I think you might have been talking to the Hormozis, and they said potentially you guys should open up as like a brokerage model and then start taking commission
Yeah.
that way.
They
Yeah.
told that was their long plan for us when we were debating joining their portfolio. They said, "Hey, turn this into a brokerage," which honestly, in retrospect, I think was a terrible idea.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm glad we did not do that. So
Okay.
yeah,
So-
dude, if
Hmm.
I'll just be honest, if you're working with real estate agents, don't expect your income to come from them sharing their income.
Okay.
Just honestly, like retainers, or paper appointment or paper lead.
Yeah. All good.
But
Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, man. Jasper, how's it going, brother? How can I help?
How's it going? Yeah, so my question is, we do a mixture of pay in full packages and also pay per appointment, depending on how big the client is. But we're coming into a bit of a situation where at the end of the initial agreement, we're debating whether to scale fast, it's better to just go straight onto retainer, for like simplicity and just the recurring revenue, even though we know we're going to make more money on the pay per appointment model. So to scale aggressively, would you say always go onto retainer, or just put in that extra effort on the back end to make sure you're sticking to the model which is going to generate the most amount of revenue?
I mean, I like pay per appointment because your incentives are aligned with the client. And it actually has more scale potential in the sense that you can make more per client, which is really, really important. I guess I would ask you, Jasper, what is the bottleneck that you're seeing with pay per appointment? Like
That's the thing.
why
There's no bottlenecks right now, but we're just preempting if we want to scale like really aggressively. Like our ad campaign's going pretty well at the minute, and we just feel like if we start onboarding more than we are now, we're going to run into issues of tracking the amount of appointments we're booking. But
yeah.
I don't know if that's just laziness on our end to just keep on tracking the appointments because we will make more money that way, or it's just easier to scale just going straight onto retainer because we're a little bit confused.
I would keep tracking and then eventually just hire an executive assistant who part of their job is tracking. So you don't have to do it anymore if you don't already have that person. But remember the first like main takeaway I mentioned in the beginning was reactive instead of proactive. I feel like this is a bit proactive, and I would just keep doing what you're doing, especially if it's working. Especially if it's working. If you have paper appointment working, dude, that's a very powerful thing. Like it's actually working, they're getting results, you're getting paid. Keep scaling that up, find a way to make that scale if you can.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Yeah. Cool. Carol, round two.
Yeah, hey, Matt, a quick one, a different one this time. So what sort of part of your customers were referrals, and how would you go about getting more of them, pretty much?
Yeah, we sent a text blast every week, reminding our clients to refer people. We sent
And
it
did
to
you have
all our
some
clients.
compensation or?
Oh yeah, yeah. So that was gonna be part two. Is we paid them in the text. We reminded them, hey, we'll send you $1,000 if you refer someone who signs up, or you can say, hey, we'll give you a free month if you refer someone who signs up, or hey, we'll give you 20% of their revenue for life to anyone who signs up, right? And we sent that out. People need to be told something once, but they need to be reminded forever. If Eric said right now on this call, hey guys, if you refer someone, I'll give you $1,000. Cool, but a week from now, you're gonna forget. But if every single week Eric sent a text blast, he mentioned it on calls, he found people who were actually referring and he gave them shout outs in the group. Yo, shout out to Carol who referred someone last week, and then he got paid $1,000, and like Eric put a screenshot of the PayPal that sent $1,000 to Carol. Then you guys would like, it would start to become planted in your mind. Oh shoot, I should be on the lookout for any agency owner. The next thing you know, like in your subconscious at all times, you're going to be thinking about who can I refer to Eric so I can make $1,000. So we did the same thing with our clients. Text blast once a week, email blast once a week. It was a part of their onboarding. It was a part of their onboarding deck. We had a whole slide that was like, hey, refer somebody you know, blah, 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 blah. Get free marketing, just refer some agents. We gave shout outs to people in our Facebook group when they did refer someone. And yeah, we got a decent amount of referrals. It wasn't anything crazy, to be honest. It wasn't anything crazy. But it definitely got us, some decent revenue.
Perfect. And you had a hybrid model with Estate AI, right? So like agency lab for realtors just.
Yeah, that was the vision. Yep.
Sweet.
Agency
Perfect.
lab plus done for you ads and GHL. Yeah. Combination.
Perfect. Thanks for help.
Yeah, man. Dude, I already forgot how to pronounce your name. I feel so bad. Is it Rudier?
Yeah.
How did I say it?
Yeah, Rudier.
Rudier. Okay, so I did
Yeah.
have it. Rudier.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
Okay.
No, awesome, bro. Yeah, I just had a different question over here. So basically, to make the product sticky, I eventually do want to make like either like a sales school course or like a coaching course and all of that kind of stuff in school. Just to make sure that the clients are actually like, calling the lead in the first 5 minutes, they're using a proper sales process, doing all that. And yeah, I didn't really want to go the call center route. At least that's my mindset for now. And I just want to continue doing it that way to make it sticky. And I know you guys were pretty much able to do exactly that with this state AI. So I was pretty much just thinking, how do you effectively pretty much go about doing that?
How many clients do you have?
So 7 clients right now.
I would build a course once you have 50 clients.
Okay.
I would do 50 clients first, because right now you're gonna spend all this time making a course. You're gonna spend a lot of energy, a lot of effort making a course. And then you're gonna have like 2 clients go through the first video, and then they'll
Yeah.
watch it. Dude, our agents barely watch the course.
Oh
They
wow.
barely.
Yeah.
It ended up actually being a waste of time, even at 100 active clients. That's when we made it. Even at 100 active clients, it became a waste of time, because almost nobody used it. So what I would instead encourage you to focus on, Rudier, is how can I take what I want to teach in the course and just teach it one-on-one to the clients on my check-in calls. And then you go from checking in to coaching. And that's how you really increase retention, is you start to become a coach for these people, and you're doing it in a one-on-one setting. So Rudier is teaching Ashley how to call leads live, and they're role playing it together, and he's giving her live feedback. He's training her, and she's actually receiving it because it's personal, it's one-on-one. And that saves you the headache of like spending all this time making a course that nobody's going to watch. I would instead just focus on teaching your clients in a one-on-one setting right now. And then once you get some good content, you get some good value, and you have like 50, 60, 70 clients, then maybe you make a quick, short 10-hour course for people.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And how about like the coaching call route? Pretty much having like a weekly coaching call with some expert, pretty much, and they can coach the clients.
Yeah. Once you have success, once you have a decent amount of successful, here's the thing, there's pros and cons to that, right? If clients are happy, group's great. If clients are pissed, they become toxic in the group. And so then you have your clients that are on the fence. They see some of the happy clients, they see some of the complaining clients, and the clients on the fence are always going to go towards the negative side, where they're always going to
Yeah.
go towards the side. So there's pros and cons. You really want to make sure you have, number one, bro, you need at least like 50 active clients to even be thinking about this stuff. So I'm going to go back to what I was saying in the beginning. This is why it's so important. Just focus on acquisition. Focus on acquisition. Focus on getting wins. Focus on finding as many clients as possible, because then, Rudir, you'll start to see who are the most successful clients. What are they doing differently that our bad clients aren't? And then those successful clients can start to be the ones teaching and coaching in the group. But you need enough clients to really, you need enough active clients first, I think, to actually go that route.
Yes. No, that makes sense completely. Thanks, brother. Yeah. So it's pretty much
Yeah.
like, in order to make sure that your product was sticky with this data AI, would you say it was pretty much like the lead generation efforts and like your paid ads and everything that you're running for them that was able to kind of still make it cheeky and low churn? Because I'm pretty sure you had like 3% churn or something really low, yeah?
We had some months where it was like 4% churn, 6% churn, 8% churn. We also
Yeah.
also had months where it was 15% churn. So churn fluctuates, right? But I think when our product was the best and our churn was the lowest is when we had CSMs who had really strong relationships with the clients, really understood the real estate world. Like our best CSM was a real estate agent who used the system. So he closed deals with the system. So he was able to just speak with a lot of conviction to clients who would complain or be lazy. And yeah, I think it wasn't the ads, it wasn't I think that stuff's commoditized. I think our secret sauce was in the relationships with clients. It was in the done with you coaching, and ultimately it was in the accountability. That was the number one thing. We kept our clients accountable. We did that through coaching, public group or private group.
Wow. That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good questions. How do you navigate times when your niche is down altogether and not as active as example December? That's a good question, bro. I don't like niches that go down altogether. That scares me. It happens, like, right? That happens with what? Roofing, what are the other niches? That happens. I get it. I think it's a really good question. You want to make sure you can keep as many of your clients active as possible throughout that time. Maybe you're like, hey, I know December's coming up, 50% discount. Maybe you give people crazy discounts to join in December. Like, hey, if you get started, unless like nobody's working at all and it's just impossible. I mean, nothing's impossible. But if it's really, really difficult to get them to join at all, I mean, I would try to offer them a really significant discount to join in those months. And if that doesn't work, then you kind of just need to make sure you have as many seeds planted throughout that month as possible. You're working your pipeline, you're following up with old leads. Maybe you're taking that time to build systems and build a foundation in the company so that when the active season comes again, you're ready to scale. So you can kind of view that as like an internal month. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. It's a good one. I've never worked in a niche like that, thankfully, so I don't know. We got any final questions? I'm thinking maybe we do one more, two more questions,
Yeah.
and then
How did you actually, quick question. So did you have any like automation workflows for clients that didn't initially close on that first sales call? Like I know some top agencies will have like an email automation where they'll blast them with case studies and social proof over the next following weeks.
yeah, I had a whole text blast and a whole email blast that was like 5 texts and like 5 emails, and it was really good in theory. I don't know how much it actually did. I honestly don't even know how much our closers used it.
Yeah.
But it was like, it would be something along the lines of like, Eric, thanks for chatting today. Really great getting to learn more about your business. If you have anything you need from me, just shoot me a message. And then it would be like the next day or something, it would say, hey, Eric, been thinking about our conversation. And it would like basically pitch them again over text. Like, hey, I know I know you're probably on the fence about this whole thing, but I also know you really want to grow your real estate business. If you just give us 1% of your trust, we'll work day in and day out to earn the other 99%. What do we need to do to make this happen? And so like that would be a follow-up text. Then there was another text that would say a few days later, hey Eric, I think we had another agent come in that's in the San Jose market or in the Calgary market or in the Vancouver market as well. Just wanted to get an idea of where your head's at before I talk to them. What are you thinking? So like that's, you know, I don't think you should sell that way over text, number one, because
Yeah.
it's pretty much made up. And it also is just, I don't know, I wouldn't recommend that, but that's what we tried to do. I thought it was gonna crush. I thought it was so brilliant. Like, oh, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to lose my market, and they'll just come crawling back to us. But I don't think that ever happened. So, ultimately, follow up should be something that's done personally, manually. You don't want to send like the automated ghost gifts or whatever. Like, please don't do that. Actually call the people, check in with them, send them fruit baskets, send them gifts, send them personalized messages that are just actually real. Like, try not to sound like a salesperson in your follow-up. Try to just sound like a real human being. Eric, man, how are you? How's business? How are the kids? Thinking about you since our last conversation. Hope everything's well. Simple things like just be a human. Be a human. Some of the best sales advice in the world is just actually be a human. Don't be a salesperson.
Yeah, that's actually that's super smart. And then another question, which I don't want to like take up too much time, but another question was actually with what was like your biggest retention rate hacks? I know a lot of guys will kind of struggle with retention. I know it is obviously service delivery, but there's also a lot of things that people could do outside of that as well. So I think you guys were like gifting some of your clients on the spot as well, just like merch and stuff like that. What was some other things you guys kind of did to increase retention?
Yeah, great question. We sent gifts when they joined, fruit baskets or chocolates or stuff from Amazon, whatever. We would send them a gift. We would call them in the first 10 minutes was our goal of them joining. So imagine if when your clients joined, they paid you money, 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, they got a call from somebody on your team that said, hey, heard you just joined the family. I'm your point of contact. I'm your head coach here. Really excited to meet you. Tell me a little bit about what you got going on. And they just immediately started to almost resell them or just reignite that conversation.
Yeah.
What are you here for? What are you hoping to get out of this? And that was in like the first 10 minutes of them paying you money. We had a lot of sales calls where they were still on the phone with our closer and our head of client success was calling them and reaching out. And he would literally call them while they're on the phone with the closer. And the client's like, man, I've never been to a company like this. Like, I've never worked with a company like this where their communication is that proactive.
Wow.
So the proactive communication, what we call that is an ABR, an anti-buyer's remorse call. If you've ever had somebody join your company and then they like want to quit in the first week, we call that buyer's remorse, right? And the anti-buyer's remorse call is to try to get rid of that, while also establishing the relationship quickly. Alex Ramosi says that the most important call a client ever has with your company is the call they have. It's the first call they have after they pay you money. That's the most important one. So really nailing down that anti-buyer's remorse call, the client onboarding call. I'll see if I can find this for you guys. This was a 160 slide call. 160 slide presentation. We walked through it with every single client. I'm going to share it with y'all. And we would just take all our clients through those 160 slides to make sure they had the right expectations, they had the right mindset, they had the right mentality, the right approach, and they knew everything they needed to do. 160 slides. Every single client went through that without exception. Every single client went through that. On top of that, so day one is the anti-buyer's remorse call, or actually that's day 0. Day 1 is the onboarding. So they have the full onboarding call. It's usually an hour-long call. Then they have a personalized one-on-one strategy call where we just ask them questions, figure out where they're at, And we frame it in the sense of it's a strategy call. It's not a check-in call. We're your coach and we're helping you build your strategy. That's one of the biggest tips to client retention is stop viewing yourself as a client service rep and start viewing yourself as a coach. Like literally imagine the word coach is written across the back of your shirt. You are a coach. You're here to coach people. And you start to talk to your clients like that. And it makes them view you in a higher way, which makes them less likely to want to let go of you because they view you as an authority. On top of that, sometimes we would like connect them with our other successful clients. And we had some clients that we were just like, hey, don't pay us anything for marketing. Just talk to our clients who are on the fence about joining, and then talk to our clients who are on the fence once they already have joined. And so we had some clients who would literally just be our cheerleaders. But that's what some people needed. They needed to hear from other realtors that this was real, this worked, and that they should just keep their heads focused and not give up. It's so easy to quit, man. Realtors love to quit too. If they don't close a deal in the first 2 weeks, they just want to quit. And so we would have to connect them with some of our killer clients, and the clients would say, hey, calm down. It took me 2 months to get my first deal, but now I'm getting a deal every month. Just keep going, blah, blah, blah. So I could probably rant on this topic forever, but those are some of the main things, man. Connect them with other successful clients. That also will help you close deals that are on the fence. We did that a lot. Send gifts. Nail that first call. That first anti-buyer's remorse call should be 10 to 15 minutes of just you asking them questions and learning about who they are. That's the foundation of your relationship. You're learning about them, their family. What are they doing this for? What's their goals? That call is allowing you the foundation of who they are, what are they here for, and then that becomes the rest of the relationship is based on what you talked about in that call, usually. The onboarding call, and then constantly checking in. That's the last thing I'll say. Constantly checking in. Every single week, and all of you guys can do this right now today, actually. You can send your clients a text or an email, and you can say, hey, Mr. Client, thinking about you this week. How can I support you this week? What's one thing I can do to support you this week? And you're keeping it vague, you're keeping it open. What can I do to support you? How can I help you this week? And it's not just with marketing, it's like in general, you are their champion, you are their cheerleader, you're there to support them and help them. Every single week, send that out to your clients and watch what that does for your relationship, right? You're showing how much you care, how much you want to help them. I would leave it with that. Those are some of the tactics, some of the things we learned about client retention, keeping people for longer, and providing a better experience.
Sweet. That was I think that was super helpful. Yeah. Especially for guys who are scaling, I feel like that's like pretty more advanced stuff. But I think that's definitely super applicable to guys who are scaling past. I feel like it's like because retention is so much more important than signing new clients. Because like if your CAC is just so high, it just makes way more sense to just retain them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I still believe you have to get a lot of data to really fine tune how you retain them. So like you do want a lot of clients because if you only have 5 clients and you're relying on your retention, it's just too risky, right? You lose 2 clients in 1 month and you just lost half your business. So I still think the ultimate value is in you getting a lot of reps under your belt, which means getting a lot of clients to work with. And that's what's going to teach you more than anything is just actually getting your hands dirty and working with people. And guys, like, I want to be clear on this. If that does not mean go out there and neglect your clients and just sell and not worry about your service delivery at all. It means that you worry about your service delivery more when you have more people to serve. And if it's not going well for certain people or certain people are getting frustrated, you can refund your clients. You can give them a free month. You can give them a discount. Like you can take care of these people. If you feel like you scaled so much that you neglected some clients and they didn't do very well, then you can just refund them or take care of them in some way, right? Like I'm not saying screw people and get a bunch of clients pissed at you. That's the last thing. And I've been there. I don't want to suggest that for anybody here. So that said, that's all I got.
Can I squeeze in one more question? Just quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
It's good to meet you, Matt. I've watched all your YouTubers. Good value there. I just wanted to ask, what would you tell someone who's stuck at 0? Because for me, I'm in car detail and I've been at 0 for over a month now. I'm trying to land my first client. I mean, I feel like I've tried everything, but then obviously, I'm still new. I don't know if I've tried everything. I've been cold calling hard. I've been sent up SMS hard. So I don't know. I feel like I'm at a brick wall, really.
How many cold calls have you made
What, per week?
total at this point?
Like 850, 900?
Okay. How many cold emails have you sent?
I haven't done cold emails because I'm in car detail and I didn't think it was too effective.
Have you done Instagram DMs?
Yeah, I've done Instagram, not as much as I should have.
How many do you think you've done?
Like 250, 300.
Yeah. So the unsexy answer, honestly, bro, I think is
Not doing
you
enough.
gotta yeah, you're not doing enough. Yeah. You gotta do 10 times that many DMs. Make
Yeah,
extra. Try to do 200 DMs a day. And then cold calls, I mean, 200 cold calls a day. Like it's
I hear
just
it.
all out outreach every single day.
I hear it. I do a lot of everything, so I should just pick 2 things and just stick to it, really.
Are any of them working? Are you getting appointments through any of those?
Yeah, cold calling ain't too bad. I'm getting like 5% booking rate. 4 to
Yeah,
5.
bro. So I would probably double because, dude, if you're getting 5% booking rate, you make 150 cold calls a day. That's 7 appointments a day you're getting booked. Try to book them for the same day. Try to book them within the next 24 hours. Start to continue to improve your script and improve your tonality and review your calls. It's like my guess is you're pretty new to cold calling, right? Like you've made 1,000 cold calls, it sounds like.
Yeah, thereabouts. I
Cool.
have a cold caller too, appointment setter. He's done like 200 now, 300.
Nice. So you probably could 2 to 3x your current skill capacity and go from 5% to 10% booking rate. Which means like, bro, if you just double down on cold calls, you can become twice as good as you are currently. Like if Tim only cold called for the next 4 years, you'd probably be like way more savage at cold calling than you are right now. That's just what happens. So continuing to go through that process, do more and more volume, get better and better at the skill, maybe get a coach, hire a really good cold caller for a 1 hour review of your script, your tonality, your feedback. Pay somebody $500 for an hour, $1,000 for an hour just to break down your cold calling. They'll make you significantly better too. That might allow you to 2-3 extra booking rate just from one call like that. And then it's just about, okay, how do we now get these people we're booking to show? How do we get the people to who show to close? And you just keep fine tuning the system. But yeah, bro, I think the unsexy answer is just more volume.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Put that into work. So, like, there's no point focusing on sales now. I just need to get the meetings in, really.
I would get the meetings in. That's how you'll get better at sales.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cool. Eric, thank you for having me on, man. It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
This was super fun.
Yeah,
Glad you're
that was amazing. So I think if you guys could drop thanks Matt in the chat or something like that, maybe some hearts or something like that, some ones maybe, that'd be sick. So that was a very, very good call. I think you shared a ton of value for all the boys. So that was fucking huge. Yeah.
glad to help. Much love, boys.
Yeah.
Keep crushing.
Let's go. Appreciate it, bro. I'll talk to you soon then.
See you guys.
Take care.
Thanks, bro.